Wisdom. It's an incredibly valuable asset. Some would say more precious than gold. It's attractive, appealing, admirable. Conversely, a lack of wisdom is the basis of immaturity, blind spots, and bad decisions. Wisdom. It can be gained over time, but it can't be rushed. But wisdom can be shared. That's precisely what we are here to do right now. Today, we are here to hack wisdom, to distill it, to understand it, and to process it. Why? To get better at life. Welcome to the main thing. This is your new Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, and I've set out to interview the wisest people I know. We'll see what we can learn from each one when they're faced with an incredibly difficult, soul-piercing question. We had no budget. It wasn't on our roadmap. Honestly, I didn't even know if we could pull it off, but we had a chance to make history. So we said yes. Let me take you back to where it all began. It was a sunny morning in early June 2002. Not the sharp, blinding kind of sunlight that shoots straight in when the day's just begun, but the kind that wraps around you, warm, overhead, that soft orange sunlight. From my 13th floor office in downtown Charleston, the sunlight was streaming in gently across my desk. I had a dark roast coffee beside me. Big, bold coffee, the kind that wakes up your brain. It was shaping up to be one of those productive, peaceful Wednesday mornings. The office around me hummed with its usual rhythm. Phones were ringing, voices rising and falling, the occasional whir of the copier or the screech of a fax machine just a few doors down the hall. Yeah, fax machines. Recall, this was 2002. Just behind the office noise, you could hear the soft, muffled sounds of city life outside. My office sat right above the intersection of Capitol and Lee Streets. Through the thick, tall windows of our nearly 100-year-old building, you'd catch the hum of traffic below. Brakes, car horns, maybe a city bus shifting gears as it pulled away from the curb. That street noise outside my window, a steady reminder that the world was in motion. My door was open mostly. It always drifted about 3/4 shut. I was deep into the work, deep into thought, poring over research data for a client. Not just reading numbers, but decoding them, trying to turn columns and rows into insights, answers, and marketing strategy. The call didn't come directly to me. It rang into our front desk, into Ashley. A moment later, I heard a light knock, tapping, gentle but urgent on my door. Ashley's voice followed almost instantly, full of excitement. Skip, someone from the White House is on the phone for you? The White House. Was this for real, or was it one of my friends, some wise guy playing a prank? To my surprise, the voice on the other end, someone from the actual White House communications office, the actual White House. I quickly learned from the caller, we'll get to their identity in a moment, that President George W. Bush was coming to Ripley, West Virginia for the 4th of July. Not just for a quick whistle stop, but he was going to be spending the whole day here. And the ask, well, they wanted us to help plan the visit, design the logo, manage the media, coordinate everything on the ground, and pay for it all. I was stunned, just stunned. Now, the voice on the other end belonged to someone we knew, a young woman I'll call H. She had worked for us briefly as a student intern the prior fall, and she was going to be our summer intern that year. But after 2 days, H got the call. The call with the offer for a bigger, better job opportunity, a position with the White House press office. Naturally, she accepted it with our full blessing. But when the time came for the White House to plan this visit to Ripley, West Virginia, she remembered us. She remembered Maple Creative. She remembered me. Now, at that point in 2002, our company was only about 15 months old. Maple Creative was a small marketing services firm, part consultancy, part agency. I launched the company with a couple partners on January 2nd of the prior year, 2001. So yeah, we were a true startup, bootstrapping our way hustling to survive. I can't tell you how much every dollar mattered and every client mattered. So when H said, "We want you to design the logo, coordinate the media, manage the event, and pay for all the production," my very first thought was, how in the world are we going to pay for all this? Printing costs, staff time, banners, programs, equipment rental. We had never done anything of this size or scope before. But when I began to break it down in my mind, the design work, we were excellent. Event planning, we had solid experience and we did a great job. Media outreach, that part was going to be very, very easy. The President of the United States was coming to Ripley, West Virginia. It would be the easiest press release I had ever written. It would be the easiest media pitch ever. Media from every outlet for 5 surrounding states would be there to cover this event. Even managing the press pool who would assemble on the ground the day of the event, we had a few on the team with prior experience who were in a good position to be able to handle that. So did I consider saying no? Yeah, for a moment, I'll be honest, the fear kicked in, all the what ifs. But right behind that fear came something stronger, something telling me we have to do this. We don't have all the answers, but we'll figure it out. So I said yes to H, and that yes set everything in motion. Our team jumped in, they were fired up. They were honored, proud, determined, and I made my next call to Phyllis, the banker, and our friends at our local bank. They didn't flinch, they didn't blink an eye. They agreed to underwrite the event, roughly $10,000 to cover our costs. And for their support, they earned a seat near the podium that day and a place in the story. Phyllis got one-on-one time with the president. We designed a strong visual identity for the visit that included media passes, stage design, printed programs. We got it all done, and we still have the proof. This press lanyard with the logo of the official visit of the President of the United States to Ripley, West Virginia, July 4th, 2002. And also this t-shirt with our event logo design, our name on the back. There were several hundred people wearing those t-shirts and those lanyards that day. Those are keepsakes from a summer that I'll never forget. If you listen to the last episode, episode 128 with Pia Lister, you might remember what she shared about uncertainty. She talked about the power of trusting your creativity and intuition, especially when you're starting something big, something worthwhile. I remember she said fear shows up really big when you're standing on the precipice of something great. And Pia reminded us that sometimes we have to move forward without having it all figured out. I thought this story was a great example of that. Pia also shared with us a great quote from the philosopher Rumi, and his famous words said, "When you start to walk on the way will appear." That's exactly what happened here. We weren't expecting an opportunity like this. In no way were we ready. None of that mattered. The opportunity found us. And we said yes before we had any of the answers. We said yes. Looking back now, we had to. I'm so glad we did. I've never regretted that decision for one moment. So what was the main thing? There were actually two. As I see it, the first one, relationships matter a lot. You never know who will call you months or years later. So invest in people, truly invest in them, treat them well. It comes back to you. And second, sometimes you have to say yes, even before you're ready. You won't always have the budget or the plan or the playbook, but when the opportunity is a once-in-a-lifetime variety, you say yes, and then you figure it out. Because growth doesn't wait for perfect conditions. You grow by saying yes. Thanks for joining me, Skip Linneberg, on this episode of Skip's Quips. Until next time, keep growing, keep pursuing wisdom, and keep becoming more of who you're meant to be. That goes by incredibly fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're hacking wisdom. Thank you for listening to this wisdom conversation. If you enjoyed this podcast and found the wisdom lesson valuable,
then I encourage you to share it with a loved one or friend. Did you know podcast recommendations from one person to another remain the strongest form of podcast growth worldwide? It's true, and we'd appreciate you helping spread the good word. Let's give a big hearty thank you to the crew of the Main Thing Podcast. These are the folks who truly keep the wisdom pipeline flowing. Audio engineer Bob Hotchkiss, strategy advisor Andy Malinowski, public relations and partnerships guru Rachel Bell, social media and digital marketing expert Chloe Linneberg, graphic designer Emma Malinowski, and of course our patrons, those generous folks who provide monthly funding support to help underwrite our costs of production. I couldn't do it without you, nor would I want to. Your feedback matters a lot. If you have a question, a suggestion, maybe an idea, or even a nomination of a future show guest, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at info@themainthingpodcast.com. Well, that's a wrap for this show. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, signing off for now and inviting you to join us again next time for another special delivery of wisdom.